Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm starting a new series of soft-spoken beauty videos, so it'll be very similar to my current content. It will just be in a soft-spoken format. So for those of you who enjoy that soft, relaxing voice, I am doing this for you. So please let me know if you enjoy this. Please don't forget to thumb up this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I have a fragrance haul of about 15 fragrances. Now I will be describing the notes in each of these scents, in addition to smelling them myself and describing them to you as I smell them. Now, a little disclaimer I always like to mention in these videos is that I do live in Australia, so if I do mention prices, just for reference, I will be speaking in Australian dollars. I will put a rough conversion of the prices to USD up on the screen here as of whenever I'm editing this video. Just be aware of that if you are curious about prices. So the first on my list is Jungle Fantasy by Britney Spears. This is the 100ml bottle. First of all, I love this version of the Fantasy bottle. It's got more of a clear aesthetic. It's not as opaque as her normal Fantasy bottles. You can see right through it. I think it's a nice change. The top notes in this one are watermelon, yuzu, and violet leaf. Middle notes are water lily, gardenia, gustavia flower, and base notes are cupcake and tonka. Now this one I did have to blind buy as there was not a tester available. This has just arrived in Australia only a couple of days ago, so I rushed over to my local chemist and grabbed it for 40 Australian dollars, and I even got the last bottle there, so these were definitely going like hotcakes. I just went ahead and blind bought it. As far as what I pick up in this scent, it does remind me of something like a body spray. This one specifically is an eau de toilette. I don't know how many of her other Fantasy flankers are eau de toilettes, but the original and a lot of flankers are eau de parfum. So unfortunately, I have tested this out a couple of times and the longevity is not amazing. It's about 1 to 2 hours, and then after that it is very much a skin scent. The fruit in this I wish was a little bit more realistic. You do get a really big hit of watermelon at the top, but unfortunately it is quite synthetic and just reminds me of a body spray, which is a little bit disappointing because for the price you would expect something a little bit more high quality than body spray. Not just that, but the watermelon is a bit synthetic and hits sharp on my nose. So for that, it was a little disappointing. There is the cupcake there in the base like all of her fantasies, but it's not really doing much to ground the sharpness of the synthetic fruit notes. So I'm not sure how I feel about this one. We are about to go into summer here in Australia, so I will wear it nonetheless. Maybe for beach days where I'm not going somewhere super nice, just an everyday kind of throw it on if I don't really have anything else in mind. I will probably use up the rest of the bottle, but I don't think I would be repurchasing this one, sadly. The next one I have is Mont Blanc Signature. This is in the 30ml bottle. This is another one that I picked up from Chemist Warehouse. I think it was about $35. Now this one has top notes of clementine, middle notes of magnolia, lang lang, and peony, and base notes of vanilla, white musk, and benzoin. I think I've described it this way before, but to me, this reminds me of a very soft, comforting blanket. If a perfume was a blanket, it would be Mont Blanc's Signature. It's very beautiful, it's very clean, it's feminine, it's suitable for really any occasion, any time of the year, in my opinion. And it's got the beautiful warmth from that vanilla and the musk in the base. It's just, you can't go wrong with this one. I think it is such a perfect girl next door scent, and I have very much been loving this one. I wish it lasted a little bit longer, but the bottle is not too awkward to throw in my purse and respray every few hours, so it's not so bad. The next scent I have is Taboo by Dana. This is a more of a vintage scent. I think it's nearly 100 years old. I think it's about a 90-year-old scent, and I picked this one up from a random chemist. I got it in this small 10ml bottle for about $10 or $15. It's actually for a video that I am working on about more vintage scents, so If you'd like to see that, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss that video. Taboo has top notes of spices, orange, coriander, neroli, and bergamot. Middle notes of cloves, ylang ylang, jasmine, rose, and narcissus. Base notes of amber, civet, benzoin, sandalwood, patchouli, musk, oak moss, vetiver, and cedar. I think for those of you who very much love your sweeter scents, you might not like this one. It is very much a vintage scent story, very spicy, not a lot of sweetness, a little bit of citrusiness, and a animalic quality, like a dirtiness from that civet in the base. This is a very popular scent, and there is a good chance that you have probably smelled this one. It does smell very familiar, even for me. I'm almost positive that I've smelled this many times before, as it's been around for a long time. So definitely not for everyone. My husband has unfortunately said that he doesn't like it either. I do appreciate it in its own way as a vintage scent. Not something I would normally reach for though. The next scent I have is Onika by Nicki Minaj. This is the 100ml bottle, and I picked this one up from, yet again, Chemist Warehouse for I think $30 or $40. I think it was $30. This one I had been eyeing for a while, and I was actually there with my husband, and he said, "Oh, I know you've been looking at this one, you should just grab it because you might regret it if you come back one day and it's not there anymore, so you should just grab it." It is one of her more highly rated scents, which is why I've kind of had my eye on it. So the notes in this one, you've got top notes of pear, starfruit, and mandarin orange, middle notes of orchid, water lily, and osmanthus, and base notes of sugarcane, white musk, and cedar. This is closer to what you would expect from a celebrity scent. I do like the fruit in this one, and the star fruit makes it a little bit more unique versus a lot of other celebrity scents that I find. And it does have a softness and a creaminess in the base as it dries down, which makes it a little less sharp around the edges. Unfortunately with this one, yet again, it just does not last very long. I think I get about 30 minutes of projection if I'm lucky before this one just pretty much turns into a skin scent, which is a shame because I think the scent is decent, especially for the price. Another one that I will be more than happy to use up, but once it's gone, I would not seek it out again. I do also have to mention, I know the bottle, it might be a bit off-putting for some people. I think it very much fits her aesthetic. It is a bit gaudy, especially with the lid. It makes it a little harder to travel with and just throw in your bag, especially if you want to reapply it. So for that, I'm a little sad, but perhaps I can decant this one and chuck it in my bag. Otherwise, it's kind of cool, but not so practical. The next scent I have is Real Babe by Missguided. This one is in the mini size in the 10ml spray. I do like this packaging. It's actually a twist up instead of a little skinny glass spray or roller ball, which I actually quite like. It makes it a little bit more ergonomic. This one, you've got top notes of pineapple, citruses, and pink pepper, middle notes of ambrette and jasmine, base notes of amber, tonka bean, and musk. Now, this one surprised me because although it has pink pepper in the top, which I don't normally love, I think it's actually balanced quite nicely with the fruit in the top, so the pineapple and the citruses. It also has a nice soft warmth from the ambrette. I will say that I have been really liking ambrette as a note recently, and you'll find that as a theme in a lot of the fragrances that I have in this haul. Ambrette is quickly becoming one of my favorite notes, and I now kind of seek it out when I look at fragrances. This one's longevity, it's not too bad. It lasts me a couple of hours, maybe 3, which I'm totally fine to respray, especially in this smaller bottle. I have been wanting to get another one from Missguided. I think it's Babe Heat. That one is probably my absolute favorite from the whole Missguided line, but I haven't been able to find a small size like this. I've really been opting, if I can, to buy these smaller sizes so I don't feel as bad about buying more scents, because I know a lot of them might not be used. So this just helps me reduce the space that I take up in my collection with these smaller sizes, and I don't feel bad buying that bigger size if I don't end up liking it. The next one in this haul is Dazzle by Paris Hilton. This one I picked up as I was purchasing some scents for one of my recent videos where I dived into a lot of nostalgic scents and scents that I wore in my childhood. And I decided to pick up Dazzle from Paris Hilton as it seems to have a lot of positive feedback, and the notes to me were very intriguing. So I picked this one up from Fragrance Net. I think it was about 10 or 15 bucks, so very cheap. This one has top notes of sour cherry, red apple, and peach, middle notes of orchid, violet, and orange blossom, base notes of vanilla, champagne, patchouli, and musk. Now this one I feel like was just a winner from the start. It has a lot of notes that I love. I love violet. I love champagne, especially in her other scent, Eris. I love the champagne in the top in her Eris perfume. And with this one, I think it's so good. The cherry stands out enough. It's not too synthetic. I think for the price, it's really, really good. Unfortunately, another one that just doesn't last as long as I would like it to. It does last a little bit longer on clothing, and again, with the smaller size, not too difficult to respray, so I'm not upset about it. In fact, once I run out of this one, I might even rebuy it because I do like it that much, even if it doesn't last me very long. I just love the combination of the champagne, the patchouli, the sour cherry. It keeps it from being too juvenile and simple. It gives it a little bit of depth, but still very sweet and girly and feminine and youthful. I really like this one. Now, as we get closer to the holiday season, I have been seeing a lot of gift sets with smaller sizes pop up with multiple scents, and for me that is absolutely perfect. Like I mentioned, I have been favoring smaller sizes in my fragrances, less often going for the bigger size if I can help it, because I just want to save space, especially with our upcoming move in the next few months. I really don't want to be having to haul a bunch of delicate glass bottles if I can help it. One of the gift sets that I recently picked up is actually Britney Spears' Fantasy gift set. These are all 3 ml spray bottles. I think this was about $25 for these 3 sprays. And in this one you have the original Fantasy, Fantasy Intense, and Fantasy Sheer. So I will go ahead and start with Fantasy. Now in Fantasy you have top notes of kiwi, red lychee, quince, middle notes of white chocolate, cupcake, orchid, and jasmine, base notes of musk, orris root, and woodsy notes. And I will just say right off the bat, this one is a guilty pleasure of mine. There's a lot of childhood memories that come along with this scent, and it just makes me happy to smell it. It is also very unique with the white chocolate and the cupcake in these notes. It just adds something special, and it makes her scent and even the flankers stand out with that signature white chocolate and cupcake facet in there. It is just so young and fun. Doesn't take itself too seriously. I really just love the original Fantasy, but I will say Fantasy Intense, I absolutely fell in love with this one. Now, Fantasy Intense has to be my favorite Britney Spears fragrance I've ever smelled, maybe even one of my favorite celebrity fragrances I've ever smelled. This one has top notes of pear, lychee, and kiwi, middle notes of white chocolate, cupcake, jasmine, and orchid, base notes of patchouli, woodsy notes, musk, and orris. So Fantasy Intense dials down the sweetness a little bit. You still have that white chocolate and cupcake, but it's grounded a lot more by the patchouli and the wood. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I am an absolute sucker for sweet wood fragrances. The combination of those two accords are some of my favorite, and Fantasy Intense is no different for me. This is kind of like a grown-up, more mature version of the original Fantasy. And I cannot get enough of this one, you guys. I think I'm going to blow through this 10 ml spray bottle. Unfortunately, I would love to buy one of the bigger bottles, but I have not been able to find it anywhere in Australia. And if I get desperate, I might even have to buy another one of these gift sets. If you have not smelled this one, I highly recommend you smell it. It is still sweet, but it's not as sweet as the original. And that patchouli, it's not the patchouli you know. The woodsy notes, the orris, oh, it's just so good. I love this one. I want to bathe in it. I want to drink it. Don't drink it. I highly recommend against doing that. If you can, please smell this one and think of me. So Fantasy Sheer, the third scent to come in that gift set I mentioned. This one has top notes of citrus water, lychee, and quince, middle notes of water lily and lily of the valley, base notes of cupcake, white musk, iris, and woodsy notes. This one I love for a different reason. I love iris, and the iris in the base just gives us such a beautiful feminine powderiness that I think is perfect for the daytime. When I smell a scent like this, I think of a very flowy floral sundress. Maybe you're in the garden, you're having a picnic, or you're doing high tea. That is what this scent reminds me of. It's very girly. It's so lighthearted. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And the iris just gives it a little bit of edginess that I think is so appealing and alluring. I love Fantasy Sheer as well. Would wear it for different occasions, more of a daytime, maybe outdoor occasion. I was actually quite surprised by Fantasy Sheer, and I will definitely get some use out of this one as well. The next one I have is Cloud Pink by Ariana Grande. This one I picked up in the 100ml bottle for $80 at Chemist Warehouse. And this is another one that I got it pretty much as soon as it was released. I ran, not walked, ran to my nearest chemist to pick this up. In this one, you've got top notes of dragon fruit, wild berries, and pineapple, middle notes of coconut water, vanilla orchid, ambrette, base notes of praline, musk, amberwood, and moss. I will say, while this smells almost identical to the original Cloud, it does have that little bit of fruitiness at the top. Again, it has that ambrette, which I am currently in love with. The only downside is that it just doesn't last nearly as long as the original Cloud. So I don't know what they've done in this formulation of this flanker where they had to sacrifice longevity, but it really is a shame because it's a lovely scent still. It does still have that little bit of plasticky opening that I do get in Cloud, but despite that I still like it. It doesn't have the lavender that the original Cloud does, and the sweetness mainly comes from the fruit. Coconut water, I don't really get a lot of the coconut water, but the moss and the ambrette is really beautiful in this one, and I just wish it lasted longer. Also on opening spray, it's a little bit more alcoholic. It takes a little bit longer to dry down to really get that scent. I think for me, I'm a little sad that I bought the big bottle because I'm not as in love with it as I thought I would be, and once I use this up, I probably wouldn't repurchase it, but I'm glad I at least got it so that I know what it smells like. I would say if you have the original Cloud, you're probably not missing much with Cloud Pink. Now, the next three I have are actually from another gift set that I bought from Chemist Warehouse. It was a set of 3 for I think about $9 or $10, and these are each 10ml bottles. These are fragrances from Delta Goodrem, and in here you've got Delta, Dream, and Destiny. Now the only one that's on Fragrantica is Delta, which is a shame because some of her other scents are actually quite lovely, and I will discuss some other ones of hers that I purchased as well. A little bit sad that they aren't on Fragrantica, but I don't know if these are available outside of Australia, which might be why. So the first one I have here is Delta. So in this one you've got top notes of nectarine, mandarin orange, green apple, middle notes of honeysuckle, jasmine, and wild orchid, base notes of sandalwood, vanilla, and white musk. I was a bit surprised that I ended up liking this one. Not a love, but I do like it. It does have honeysuckle, which I generally steer away from because I don't love honeysuckle in a lot of fragrances. It does, I think, sometimes have a bit of a vintage vibe that not everyone loves, but I actually really like it in this one. I think something like this would be perfect for an outdoor wedding or a summer formal event. I think this would be perfect for that. and I still really enjoy it. I will happily use up the rest of this 10 ml bottle. The next one is called Dream, and in this one you've got notes of nectarine, wild moonflower, orris, almond milk, gardenia petals, iris blonde woods, and heliotrope. Now, I think as the bottle suggests, this is a little bit more of a nighttime fragrance. These are all eau de parfums, by the way. This is definitely more sensual. I would say it's more nighttime. Actually, I would consider this maybe a clubbing fragrance. I could definitely see someone wearing this out clubbing. It's sexy, it's alluring, it's perfect for the nighttime, it's creamy. Yeah, I do really like this one. And the last one I have in the set is Destiny. In this one, you've got notes of mandarin mist, blackcurrant, water lily, and apricot nectar. Middle notes of tiger orchid, night blooming jasmine, orange flower essence, and plum blossom. Base notes of rosewood, tonka bean, vanilla elixir, and patchouli leaf. Destiny is definitely the sweetest of the three. It is definitely a sweet, woody scent. It does almost have a kind of a bubblegummy candy-like facet to it. It's a lot more playful than her other two, but the sweetness is a bit denser, it's heavy, it's not as light and airy, so I would probably wear this during the winter or just in cooler weather in general, but I do like this one and I will probably use up the rest of this bottle. Next one I have is Eris by Paris Hilton. This is another one that I picked up from FragranceNet, and I managed to get my hands on the 10 ml roller ball. Now I bought it in this 10 ml size because I wasn't sure if I was going to love it as much as I did when I was a kid. This was a part of a shopping spree that I did when I was searching for a lot of scents from my childhood, mainly for a video I did about childhood scents. I will link that video up here. If you were a kid who grew up during Y2K in the 90s, you will definitely appreciate that video. In Eris, you have top notes of champagne, passion fruit, peach, orange, and mimosa. Middle notes of grenadine, tiare flower, lang lang, honeysuckle, star jasmine, and base notes of tonka bean, violet leaf, and white woods. This is probably just nostalgia talking, but I just cannot get enough of this scent. I love the champagne at the top. I think I described it similarly in my childhood perfumes video, but this is a scent that I wore as a teenager when I wanted to feel a bit more mature. To me, this is what I felt an adult would smell like or wear, because that champagne note just gives it something so unique and special. It's not like any other celebrity fragrance. I absolutely love this one. Look, it even has honeysuckle, but to me, that doesn't change the way I feel about it. There's just something so special about it with the champagne and the fruit. It's just enough sweetness, but not too much. It's got that fizzy bubbliness from the champagne, and it's got a little bit of warmth from the tonka bean and the white woods, but not too much to make it heavy and overbearing. It's so youthful. It makes me happy when I smell this one. I love it, and I really hope that I'm able to find a large bottle that isn't expensive in Australia. I will probably still be on the hunt for a full size of this one. The next one I have is Power by Delta Goodrem. This is another one from her. This is in the 30 ml bottle. Again, I picked this one up from Chemist Warehouse for about $20, I think. This one has top notes of toasted coconut, white freesia, and water lily. Middle notes of dreamwood, ambrox super, and jasmine air. And base notes of cedarwood Virginia, vanilla bourbon, and milky musks. This one I was absolutely surprised by. I'm not sure what I expected. The toasted coconut in here is so good. It's so delicious. It's so creamy. It's not a tropical, bright coconut. This one is warm and creamy and soft and smooth. I was so surprised when I smelled this one in the store. You've got a little bit of booziness from the vanilla bourbon, so it adds like a sensual sexiness. It's interesting that it's named Power. I don't know if I would name it that, but I do love the scent. I love the combination of the toasted coconut. I mean, toasted coconut is not something that I smell in a lot of scents, and I think it's just so yummy in this one. I love it so much. I would probably wear this one maybe on a summer night, maybe going out to the beach, to a nice restaurant. I think that is where I would wear this. and I wish more people talked about it because I think it's just so delicious. She did come out with a flanker of this one, the Power Intense. I didn't love that one as much. It does have pink pepper, which I don't really like, but this one I was pleasantly surprised, and I love the coconut in this, which coconut forward scents I don't typically love, but I do love it in this one. So the next one is probably my favorite in this entire haul, Cosmic Sky by Anna Shui. This one I think I got for $35 or $40 at Chemist Warehouse. This is the 50 ml bottle. And this one has top notes of bergamot and pear, middle notes of ambrette, apple blossom, and iris, and base notes of brown sugar, white woods, and amber. Now I have to tell you guys a little story about this one. I first smelled this maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. I can't remember exactly when. Now when I smelled it, I immediately loved it, but for some reason, I didn't buy it. I didn't pick it up. I just left it there. And then a few weeks later, I smelled it again. I loved it, but for some reason, didn't buy it. And then a few weeks after that, I was thinking about this one again. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and pick it up. I checked everywhere, and when it was sold out, all the chemists around me, nowhere had it around me except for this one store 30 minutes away. So you bet your butt that I drove to that store just to pick this one up, and I am so glad I did. This has to be one of my favorites right now. Again, with the ambrette, I am just so in love with ambrette. It's got to be one of my favorite notes, and it's got iris in there, which I also really love. It's sweet, it's creamy, it's woody. It's got all of my favorite elements of a fragrance. I love the twist and the powderiness that iris gives in scents. I just love iris. It's again another one of my favorites, and I just think Cosmic Sky, it's just so good. If you can get your hands on this one, you should at least give it a smell if you can. I am surprised that there aren't more people talking about this one. I don't know if it's available everywhere, but if you can get your nose on it to at least smell it, and you like sweet wood fragrances, please give this one a try, and please let me know if you like it, because I'm so in love with this scent, and the bottle is so adorable. I mean, look at this bottle, you guys. It's kitschy, it's cute. I don't care if you think it's tacky, I think it's adorable, and actually to spray it, you gotta flip it upside down, which I think is just so unique and cool. I love all of the packaging on Anna Shui scents. I think they're so special. It kind of reminds me of Betsy Johnson, but maybe a little more fantasy. I just love that aesthetic. Look, this even fits my current background perfectly. It's got like an iridescent pink and blue balloon here. Oh, I just love it. I'm in love with it. I love it. Please tell me if you smell this one and if you like it so that we can be friends forever. Okay guys, this is the last scent that I have. This one is Darling by Kylie Minogue. It looks like she's re-released this and it is reformulated, so if you did smell the original, this is a bit different. This one has top notes of lychee, passion fruit, freesia, middle notes of baronia and lily, and base notes of amberwood, vanilla, and sandalwood. Now, I wasn't really sure what I thought about this one when I smelled it. I sprayed it on myself when I first came across it, and I wasn't in love with it. But my husband smelled it, and he said he liked it, so I thought, okay, I will give it another chance. I went back a little while later, and I sprayed it again, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna pick it up. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm pretty sure this 30 ml bottle was $19 or so at Chemist Warehouse. I thought it can't hurt to try. I think with this one, it has sort of a vintage scent story. The baronia, it just is so interesting in this one. I think some people might smell it and think it smells maybe a bit old-timey, but I think it makes it more appealing to anyone of any age. You do have a little bit of a citrus sweetness in there, but it's not too much. This one is still very feminine. I think I also added this one in my video of scents that I would wear to meet the parents for the first time. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend it, but maybe not after this if you're trying to sleep because it is a bit loud. So I will link that one up here and down below for you to add to your playlist to watch later when you're not trying to sleep. I love the vanilla in this one. I love the sandalwood. The baronia is just so unique. I felt like I was compelled. There's something that draws me toward it because of that Baronia. It's not like anything that I have in my collection. So for that reason, I picked it up. I have worn it a few times, and I'm not unpleased with it. I wish it lasted a little bit longer. It is what it is. Alright everyone, that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you happen to still be awake, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it and you want more of these soft-spoken beauty videos. I find these myself to be very calming to film. It's a nice switch up from my regular programming, you could say. And I also had a blast making this background. I actually DIY'd the clouds. I bought a moon lamp. I really wanted to go above and beyond for this new series. So please let me know if you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back again in my next one. Bye-bye.